Good morning, everyone. Thank you so much for joining us in this webinar today. My name is Sarah Baisi, and I'm the Deputy Sales Manager at BNB. And today's webinar is basically going to discuss the future of banking during and post-COVID-19. And we'll basically discuss how a unified low-code platform can accelerate financial services during and after the post-COVID-19 pandemic. Before we start, first of all, it's really a great pleasure to have you all with us today, especially that this is our first ever webinar with Creatio. And we really hope that it's going to be a very interesting one, a very informative session. So on today's agenda, we are going to first start with a brief introduction about BNB and Creatio, and we'll definitely tackle the current situation and how is the pandemic reshaping businesses and making business leaders think differently going forward. And then we are going to focus a little bit more on the banking and financial services industry, which is the main interest of this webinar, and discuss what our banking customers looking for. And then we will show how Creatio, with its low-code unified CRM and BPM platform, how it's able to help this sector. And we will also share some success stories at the end and finish our webinar with a Q&A session. So we can now start. So BNB is a leading information and communication technology provider with more than 25 years of experience. We have more than 3,000 customers across multiple countries and in many industries. And we have more than 300 technology experts who are able to provide you with the state-of-the-art technology, with their technical expertise and an exceptional experience. And BNB has 14 offices located in 8 countries. As you can see, we are available in the MENA and Europe region. So we are very proud of this multinational presence. We are also proud of the many partnerships that we have with international vendors of many software solutions like Creatio, of course, and like others like Cisco, Dell, Microsoft, and many more, as you can see. And I believe that this diversity of products and solutions has also enabled us to serve a multitude and a diversity of customers across many industries like insurance, technology, telecom, retail, manufacturing, media, and definitely the banking and financial services industry. And in this industry in particular, we've worked with many banks in multiple regions of the world. We will name a few like Air Bank, Standard Chartered, HSBC, Citibank, BNP Paribas, and many others. For this webinar, for today's discussion about the financial services industry, I have the pleasure to introduce to you my co-speaker for today. We're going to have with us Mike Rishenko, who is the Regional Sales Director for EMEA and APAC at Creatio. And Mike has an extensive experience in handling new business opportunities, clients and markets, and customer success management. And at Creatio, he is currently responsible for sales strategy development and execution. Mike, thank you so much for joining us today. We have the pleasure to have you, and I'm going to hand it over to you now.
Okay, hello everybody. It's a great pleasure to be here today, and thank you for introduction, Sarah. So yeah, I'm really excited to talk about our product and our partnership together with BNB, and specifically focus on the banking domain, because this is one of the core expertise here at Creatio, and we're really focused on it. So let me quickly give you an introduction about who we are, what do we do for different businesses and for financial services specifically. So Creatio is a premium vendor of a CRM and a low-code BPM platform. We are represented by 5 offices around the globe, and our headquarters is located in Boston, Massachusetts. Currently, we are 650 people strong, but the number continues to grow. We have more than 700 of different partners worldwide. and that is actually our strategy to set our strong footprint on the global scale with the help of strong partners and system integrators like BNB. And currently we are represented in more than 110 different countries. Also, our solution is highly recognized by world-leading analysts such as Gartner and Forrester. And this is something that I want to stop for a second during next couple of slides. So Creatio was recognized as leader in Gartner's quadrants for Salesforce automation and lead management, standing next to the industry giants like Salesforce, Microsoft, and Oracle, right? And that mainly has become possible because of the highest end user recognition that is also mentioned in the Gartner's reports. So the end users, they've given the highest scores to Creatio for its user friendliness and simplicity of the interface, right, and the productivity it gives them while using on the daily basis. Also, Creatio is also recognized by Gartners for other products. These are the low-code BPM platform and DCM and business process management suites. We also possess a strong position in the Forrester waves. As you see, there are quite a few represented here. We continue improving these positions year by year, right? And as well, Forrester recognize Creatio as a strong performer for CRM, for Salesforce automation, sales management, marketing, business process automation, and so on and so forth. So also, this is a snapshot since we are talking about financial services and banking today specifically. I couldn't skip this one, and that is just a snapshot of the logos that did not need additional introduction. Of course, we have much more than that. Our customers in this domain. As you see here, we work with the major banking groups around the globe, and so OTP Group is among them, so Societe Generale. In the Middle East, we work with Oman Bank, Byblos Bank, Saudi Payments, which is a part of Saudi Arabia Monetary Authority, and others. So we continue extending our footprint in the region, but also on the global scale. And a little bit later down the road today, we'll be talking about the solution that Creatio actually brings to the banks and why these organizations, they choose Creatio to automate their CRM and both internal and external business processes. So you might be asking yourself still, so why is this so special, and what are the key differentiators of Creatio, and why did all these banks have chosen Creatio? So just to briefly explain you our key differentiators and the main advantages over the competition out there on the market, I just wanted to emphasize three key features, and as we call it, Creatio's superpowers. So the first one is a powerful BPM engine to change processes faster and streamline both customer-facing and internal operations. The second one is a low-code platform to, as we state, to make everyone a developer, which basically means to empower your employees, regardless their technical background, with a very robust technology that will allow them to bring their business ideas to life. And of course, last but not least, is a unified CRM to align sales, marketing, and service on a single platform, which is basically creating a single environment for all the customer-facing operations and for your employees, such as relationship managers, tellers, people in branches, people in middle office and back office, everybody who's related to customer-facing operations, but also to underwriting, providing approvals and compliance checks, risks analysis, and so on and so forth, with a single environment and a single interface where they can work, where they can search for the data and execute their daily activities and duties. So that was briefly about the solution. We will definitely return to that topic and talk in details about everything that Creatio offers to the banks and how we actually create that environment and help to innovate and grow the business. But at this point of time, I might turn it over back to you, Sarah, to talk about the challenges that we are facing today.
Yes, definitely. Thank you, Mike. And we look forward to hear about what Creatio has to offer for the banking and financial services industry. But before we do that, I believe that we cannot really get into that discussion without discussing a little bit about what's happening right now in the world and how it has reshaped the way we do business. It has definitely disrupted many industries, and the banking industry is no exception. And going forward, business leaders will have to know that there's going to be new challenges. They have to take these things into consideration, building strategies for the future. And I believe that during the pandemic and the lockdown, it was when a lot of people actually realized how crucial technology is for their business continuity. And for this reason, we're gonna go over the most important things to take into consideration. And I believe that the most asked question right now for business leaders is, do we invest now or do we keep it for later? Because they understand the importance of digital transformation, but at the same time, they know that investing now in a time of uncertainty is going to be a high risk. So the answer for this is basically simple. It's to spend smart. Spend smart in a low-code technology. And a low-code platform is one that allows organizations to automate their business and their ideas fast and easily, and basically allowing them to streamline their operations without making huge expenditures in IT and without a major IT involvement, but still have a quick return on investment. And the second thing that businesses need to consider is the working from home culture, which we have seen rise heavily during the pandemic. And many people argue that this is not going anywhere, it's here to stay, and companies need to allow this, need to make it a flexible solution for their staff. And to do that, they really need a good infrastructure. And for this, I believe that CTOs and CIOs are going to be on the front line, because they are the ones making new strategies to make sure there is security on their data and their systems, to make sure that they have the right applications for their staff to use. Because to move your staff quickly to a new way of doing the tasks that they used to do before at the office, that you need applications and solutions that are easy to use and that are intuitive. And you also need to make sure that when your staff are located at different locations, they need to be connected, they need to stay in sync. So you have to maintain that synergy between them. And at the same time, businesses need to be ready for any next disruption, for any new challenges that would come their way, and especially after what happened in the previous months. And now they understood the importance of technology, and so they need to ask themselves again, is my data protected? Do I have the best security? Do I have access to my data? And is my staff going to be able to work from home properly? So these are all things to consider. And the final thing I want to mention is something that we've seen a lot during the pandemic is many businesses basically tried to change their business models recently to be able to find new ways to make income and generate revenues. For example, clinics started to invest in telehealth to provide services for patients without a lot of physical contact. We see now banks investing in digital transformation to basically digitize their customer requests and everything that basically minimizes the number of people at their branches. Even your local supermarket is trying to invest in online shopping. So all these new strategies, all these new digital transformation initiatives, they need the right platform for it, and they need low code. Why? Because low code can allow you to turn around your business and change your business model fast and easily, so you become more agile and more flexible. And these new challenges and new strategies to think of, as we said, applies to any business, and it applies definitely to the banking and financial services industry. So I believe that banks and financial institutions, and just to note here before we continue, I think you're going to hear us say the word bank a lot during this webinar, but this definitely doesn't mean only commercial banks. It also means investment banks, private banking, micro lending, credit unions, any type of institution that provides financial services. So this industry needs to reconsider what are my customers looking for? What do I need to provide them now going forward? And for this reason, we'd like to have a bit of perspective from our audience. So I would like our audience to participate in this poll that we're going to make available now, and let us know, what do you think is the best or is the most important thing now for banking customers? What's the thing that is a top priority for them? Yes, please let us know. Give us like your ideas of what are the top priorities of bank customers. So I believe, Mike, as we wait for our audience to answer, do you think we can tackle a question from the audience?
Yes, Sarah, absolutely.
Yes. So okay. So there's a question. Let me check. Yeah. So there is a question from the audience asking about AI tools in Creatio and how it works, and how it can help their business.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's a good question, in fact. So the main thing how we provide, well, like there are multiple ways how AI can help in improving the business and actually driving the cross and up sales and driving and increasing the customer experience. So probably here we need to think about which departments in the bank or any financial institution might be, might benefit from using the AI. And actually, the main idea of the AI is to actually improve productivity and help the employees who are, work with customer to make data-driven decisions. So here, what we can do, we can, try to leverage and capitalize on all these, huge amount of data that we have consolidated under customer 360-degree profile to, actually help us to drive the relationships and drive the sales, for example, with the customers. If we are talking about relationship managers, so the AI in this case and the machine learning can come up with the next best action or the next best offer for both corporate and retail customers, right? Suggesting the relationship manager the action that has to be taken, the product that has to be that can be offered to their customer in order to get a greater conversion, for example, right? And this is the most simple case and the most commonly used case in the banking domain, right? We can also talk about machine learning when we are talking about customer cases, right, or complaints that we are getting from the customer. So the best way to route these complaints or cases, just to make sure that we are hitting the SLA, that we are providing a timely response. So machine learning can help out here as well, right? Helping us to, qualify the case and to route it to the right person who maybe has the lowest workload for the time being, or who has the experience of dealing with the similar cases, or is, is an expert in this area to which the case is related, or something like that. Also, we can talk about smart lead scoring, right? When we are getting leads out of our marketing campaigns, so machine learning can help us to score this lead properly based on the maturity of the lead, based on the analyzing the background of the person, because we have all of that information once again stored in our 360-degree customer profile. So it can help us a lot. So there are multiple ways the artificial intelligence and machine learning can be utilized, right, across different departments of the banks. But the main goal here and the key advantage would be increasing productivity, saving a lot of time to your employees and the end users by reducing the number of manual activities that they would normally take to deal with that issue or a question or an incoming request from the customer, and also enable data-driven decisions and actions. Right? It's not only like a gut feeling of your relationship manager what to sell next, or they're not just blindly following the script, but they are following the system and data-driven activities which are pre-scheduled by the solution, so that they do not need to do that. So the system can even put the activity on their calendar, tell them what to do, which product to pitch, right? And what would be the expected, let's say, outcome, and what would be the scoring there. So this is the whole idea of utilizing machine learning. And I should say that most of the banks, they are just starting to utilize this technology, right, to gain some advantage or the competitive edge. But the outcome for the business is significant, right? So when your relationship manager were able to work through a certain amount of requests, now their productivity will increase because they will not need to plan this for themselves. The system will prompt them with some actions. All they need to do is just to execute that. So therefore, they will spend their time on talking to their customers, to developing relationships, right? Basically selling the product to the existing ones, or maybe acquiring the new ones, instead of doing the manual work in the multiple applications that they normally have to deal with.
Yeah, definitely, Mike. So yeah, that's basically AI is going to play a major role, especially for the banking industry. And I believe it's a great thing that it's also like provided and available in Creatio. So banks they don't have to worry about having additional AI tools to be integrated. So with Creatio, the data is there, the information is there, everything is there, so they can really leverage this information and this data to make better decisions, especially right now when they're trying to generate more revenues and maximize profits. So thank you so much, Mike. So yeah, I believe that we have the results of our poll. So, okay, so we're going to, okay, that's very interesting actually, that most of our audience believes that banking customers want to have access anytime, anywhere to their information. And this is very understandable, especially after the period that we went through, where we really don't want any physical contact. We want everything to be available at our fingertips. And yeah, I believe
Yeah,
that's interesting.
yeah. Let me just quickly comment on that. I'm sorry for interrupting you, sorry, but I find it quite kind of funny. I mean that most of our customers, most of our attendees today, they have chosen this option because that actually just reinforces the pattern that we see all over the place today, right? It's not only related to the customers of the bank; it's related to basically all the people. So they need to have this access to the information. And just like the customers, they want to have the access to the latest relevant information at their fingertips. And banking employees, just like that, they want to have the access to the latest and updated customer information, right? Just to make sure that they are providing the highest level of service. And actually, this is what Creatio does, but by creating this holistic customer profile, 360 as we call it, right? We consolidate all the data and basically provide them the same type of the access to the latest information. And that's just, as I said, that just reinforces the pattern that everybody want to have the access to the information. And that's one of the most important things for everyone.
Yeah, definitely. And we're going to talk a little bit more about this in a bit. So we can go back, I believe, to our slides. In fact, there's been a recent study that was done by the CGI group about this topic, and they asked the same question. They asked people, what do they think is the top priority of banking customers? Okay, so this study that we're talking about, they definitely had different results to the options, but honestly, it's, as we said, this is very understandable, the results that we got today, especially after the pandemic, and now that people are moving into they are basically expecting a digital experience from any provider they're dealing with, whether it's banking or any other type. And that study that was done basically back then showed that people wanted to be rewarded for their business with the bank. So with a lot of competition going on, they want to get something in return. So they want rewards, loyalty points, and all these types of benefits. And definitely they would want to have access anytime, anywhere. And I believe there's also another thing that basically leads to that, is that the new generation of banking customers is a generation of digital natives. So the new generation basically has an application for everything. So I think they want to replicate that same digital experience to every single provider they deal with, and the bank is not an exception. And it's not only about going online or going to your phone and just checking your balance. It's also about having full visibility over your financials, and you want to track how you're spending. You also want to get some guidance and advice from them about how to build wealth and save money, and basically see the bank as more of a consultant. And one last idea that was uh, basically an option was that people want to be seen as a person. So how many times do you walk into a bank and they immediately ask you for your account number? This is the first thing many banks ask for, especially the ones that work on a bit of old core banking systems and some legacy systems. And this is the case because they see it as an account number. They see this person as an account number, but people really want to be seen as a person. And for this to happen, the bank staff, they need to have full visibility over this customer's profile, their behavior, their spending habits, what they're doing, and to be able to serve them properly. So that's basically when it comes to the main priorities of bank customers. And at the same time, on the other side of the story, if you want to think about what banks want, there was also another study done by the Emrich Group last year, and basically banks have these main priorities. And I believe that the first one is the importance of culture. And they realize that a good strategy without the right culture doesn't lead you anywhere. And I remember a famous quote here by Peter Drucker, I believe, and it says, "Culture eats strategy for lunch." And I think this is very, very true. And banks realize that. At the same time, again, talking about increasing competition, it's not only about having many institutions or companies providing financial services these days. It's also about, don't forget that there's major tech companies who are now integrating into fintech, like Amazon and Apple. They're also providing financial services. So for this reason, banks and financial institutions need to make sure they provide excellent customer experience, and they need the right tools to do that. They also want to own the whole client relationship, and this means that if, for example, I have an account at a bank, this bank would also want me to get a car loan from them, a mortgage, a personal loan, a credit card, all these types of services, so they own my whole financials. And they also want to target their most profitable accounts. And in this area, the 80-20 rule plays a major role. So as you know, this rule says that usually the majority of your revenues as a business, as a bank, no matter what industry you operate in, the majority of your revenue comes from very few of your customers. So you need to know who these customers are. You need to know who are the ones that are providing you with the highest profit, so you can basically give them some personalized services, do some personalized marketing to them, and finally, definitely banks want to keep their investors happy. They want to provide them with the highest return on investment. So now that we know both sides of the story, we know what customers usually look for in their banking provider, and at the same time, we know what banks are looking for. I believe that we almost have an idea how this industry should go forward from now going forward. And I believe that it would be a great time now to go into what Creatio has to offer in that perspective, so we can see how these new strategies and new ideas can be implemented. And I can now turn it over back to Mike, so he can give us more details about that.
Yeah, thank you, Sarah, for that. So let's just switch to the next slide. And actually talk about the solution, right? Low-code CRM and BPM for banks, how it can be utilized and what value it can actually bring to their business, right? So as we are starting to talk about that, I just wanted to present it through a picture where we will take a look at the different departments of the banks, different lines of business, right? And what kind of the solution people from these departments are normally using on their daily basis, right? So I'll start with revealing the features and the functions of the system gradually, so that we can take a closer look of what Creatio normally provides, right? So, and of course, as I mentioned a couple of times already, that having this holistic view of your customer has an utmost importance for almost every employee and every department in the bank, whether we're talking about retail banking, business banking, priority banking, affluent banking, or something like that. So we need to understand, who are our customers, what were the latest interactions with them, right? How do we manage them, right? The profitability, the portfolio, and so on and so forth, right? And referring to the poll, so the number two answer for which everybody voted was like, bank should see me as a person. So this is actually what enables the bank to see their customers as a person, this holistic view, right? So, and it can be populated. So the data for to populate and fulfill this 360 customer view will be collected and obtained from different sources, right? And we are talking about core banking solution. We are talking about mobile banking, internet banking, even like an integration with the ATMs and other third-party applications that could feed as much data as possible. It's always helpful, right? So it helps us to fulfill the customer profile, break down the information, and then not only to present it to the relationship manager or any other person who has the access to that, but also to enable our algorithms, right, to drive the relationships and drive the sales with the customer, basically drive the business. So yes, and on the CRM layer, of course, Creatio provides a smart segmentation of very different types of the segmentation and very complicated ones for all types of our customers, lead management and opportunity management, as well as campaign management and omnichannel communications with your customer through different marketing channels, driving cross and up sales and consultations, and of course, the management of resources. Talking about omnichannel communications, and I mentioned those already. So we want to reach out to our customers at the right place at the right time, right? Whether they are using your ATM at the moment and you're ready to shoot the personalized offer to them, or communicate with them through your mobile application, or for example, to market your new products or new services through the channels which are comfortable for that customers. For example, you want to send a personalized message in WhatsApp if you're a customer. For example, he paid with his credit card abroad, and several times, and then you recognize that there is a commission that he pays every time that he uses his card abroad. So maybe it's a good time to offer him a travel card, right, with no commission or with some special conditions. So you can shoot that personalized message to him right away after that transaction in his WhatsApp, so that he can maybe think about ways of optimizing his spendings. He or she will appreciate that, and also that is the fastest way to reach out to the customer at the right point of time. Of course, Creatio covers a KYC, onboarding procedures, as well as case management, different types of queues for both inbound and outbound, contact center automation, and satisfaction and feedback management. We work with account opening as well as account maintenance, and all the operations related to the existing accounts or the new accounts of the customers. There is a loan origination layer that we also have. Just to quickly mention that all of these modules and all of these features can be they are either part of the out-of-the-box functionality of Creatio or can be customized and configured with the help of the low-code BPM platform, which is a part of each and every product of Creatio, right? As we mentioned already, there is an specific interface inside the solution to configure the machine learning models, to use them for different purposes that we have already discussed. Right? It's either next best offer or the next best action, or the predictive scoring of your leads, or the smart routing of the incoming cases, and so on and so forth. But in addition to the customer-facing operations, as you see here, Creatio is able to automate the internal operations as well, to provide, and that actually to support this concept of the unified environment, where you can unify all, like both customer-facing and internal operations, and provide the access to the single solution to most of the employees of the bank or of the organization. Right, so we can handle the internal requests, we can handle the HR processes, internal incident management, for example, related to your IT department, new employees onboarding, transfer, and so on and so forth, like as well as internal audit, vendor management, and security management. All of that can be automated with the help of the flexible low-code BPM platform. Of course, all of that is supported with the out-of-the-box analytics capabilities, and it's also based on the low-code platform. So basically, any employee can build a custom dashboard or a quick metric that he or she wants to track, and it's related to their performance and daily activities. All of the modules and the products are complemented with the BPM core. So basically, regardless of the product you purchase, you will receive this BPM capability complementary, as well as dynamic case management for the workflow automation. There's also an inbuilt internal collaboration tool, which we call Feed. This is basically something that replaces the messengers that people normally use in their communication. So that is to cover the business communication, right? Something related to the execution of the activities. So people might not use like third-party messengers to reach out to their colleague, and they use this inbuilt tool instead. And the best thing here is all of the interaction history will be captured and stored in the CRM as well, so that you can easily go back to it and see what we were discussing or what were the requests, and that actually saves a lot of time and boosts the productivity. So that's basically it about explaining the area of the coverage of all the processes inside the bank or any other financial institution, what Creatio does for the business. As you see, it's quite huge, right? And of course, we would not recommend you, should you decide to go through this digital transformation or digital journey, to start doing that all at once. right? It's you cannot boil the ocean overnight, so you should start with a smaller piece of that, as we call it, a crawl, walk, run approach, right? So we deliver the basic functionality just to empower users with this robust automation, and then we'll start putting the features on top of it, right? And that will help you to drive the adoption. That will help you to ensure the smooth implementation, and that will let your people to really benefit out of it, because you cannot just dump all of that functionality on their heads just as a big bang approach. You should gradually provide that pieces of functionality that would increase their productivity on the daily basis, and then you will reach the point when all of the departments will have the access to this unified platform, and all of the operations will be conducted in the single environment. That will make it more controllable, that will make it much easier to maintain, and that will boost the productivity, because there will not be a silos between different applications or different departments, first of all, within your organization. We spent some time on explaining this slide. I know it's quite big and might be a bit complicated. So what I want to ask is please write your questions in chat. We will definitely answer, or at least try to answer all of them at the end of this session. So we will have a Q&A just to address all the questions that you might have. So please go ahead and submit your question in chat. So this is just to quickly talk about the product offering of Creatio, like what we offer for the banks, and actually how we cover everything that you have just seen on the previous slide. Right. So for this purpose, we have 4 major modules and major products. And first is the bank customer journey, and this is something that we use for the front office automation and the contact center management. Right, we use it for automation of operations in branches and the call center automation as well. So there's a consultation panel, and there's a 360-degree. It's mostly used for retail customers, right, for retail banking. Then there's the bank sales, which is a pure sales process automation, lead management, opportunity management, and a robust tool for your RMs. It's mainly used for the corporate banking and business banking, as well as for the private banking. Then we have lending, or the loan origination solution, which is the front end for managing your loans, both retail and corporate. Right. Again, just to reiterate that all of the products that we have here, that we see here, are complemented with the BPM core and a low-code platform. Like, it means that you can easily configure or reconfigure them or tweak to your ever-changing business needs. So after lending, there is of course a marketing tool, which is a truly omni-channel piece of software that allows you to run marketing campaigns, triggered marketing campaigns, and segment your customers and tailor your communication and make it very personalized, right? And all of that is possible with the marketing automation tool that we have. So, but the key point here is, regardless of the fact that we have different modules, all of them are still part of the single platform. It means that there will be just one customer profile, right? And regardless of the module which you will be using, even if you will be using all of them, they will still do not need any type of integration. They will still be using a single customer profile. All of the records made in all these modules will be stored under the customer profile in the history tab. So it will be really easy to get the access to them and to build the analytics based on this, because all of that is a part of the single solution. And of course, as the final part of our webinar today, I wanted to talk about the real cases of our existing customers. And I just wanted to start with one of my favorite customers, which is Oman Bank. So Oman Bank is known as one of the most innovative banks in Oman. It is also the third largest bank in the country. Right? They have more than 5 billion of assets under management. Currently, the number of users which are using Creatio in the bank is 800, but we expect that number to grow. Right? So the main task for Amanra Bank was to boost their sales and customer service activities, right? To increase the customer experience and automate the operations in branches. And actually, they have chosen Creatio to deliver that result. So we had a long journey with Amanra Bank, building up the business case, understanding how we can utilize all of the capabilities of Creatio to actually increase the productivity, provide that automation, create that single environment for their employees. Now we went live with the solution, right? And now, as I said, it's mostly used for the retail banking and automation of the operations in branches, which already brings their benefits to the business and to the bank. So the current customer base is more than 500,000 already, and that number continues to grow. And Creatio actually helps to drive that growth. Higher revenue per customer, which is a result of building that holistic view of the customer and helping actually the RMs to identify the next, the best offers with which they have to approach their existing customers. And of course, the increased operational efficiency, which is obvious result of consolidated all of the processes and operations in the single environment, unifying different departments and lines of business in a single place, right, and streamlining the processes. The next case, which I wanted to talk about, is OTP Bank. OTP is one of the largest banking groups in the Eastern Europe. And since they've been on the market for quite a while already, the group is really huge. And well, to maintain this growth and to maintain the scalability, they really needed a robust tool to support their strategy, right? And it's understood that when you are growing that rapidly, when you are covering that many different businesses, right, and then you have a lot of people in your organization, you will face the challenges of that misalignment, because to scale effectively, you need to have a proper tool and a proper technology. So as you see from this slide, they have 1,500 branches, right, and more than 12 million of customers. The main challenge was to build that it all starts with the 360-degree view, right? But then you need to unify and streamline the processes between different departments in the bank. So the main goal was to increase the customer experience, right? And as well as to automate the processes, which the customer-facing processes, right? Both for individuals and legal entities. So they have chosen Creatio for this, large-scale project for, processes automation and optimization. So we have delivered the project. We provided that automation to the bank as a turnkey solution, right? So, and the key thing here was that the processes that they were really, sophisticated and tricky. Therefore, there were required a lot of flexibility from the solution so that we can configure that accordingly and tweak it accordingly to the existing business processes of the bank. And this is where actually the low-code shines, right? Because it allows you not only to tailor the solution to the specific needs of the business from the very beginning, but also to maintain this, constant urge to change throughout the whole operational time, right? So it means that as their business grows, it definitely evolves. So the approaches, they change, even like on a yearly, annual basis. So it means that system has to have this flexibility to accommodate these changes, to provide them with still be able to provide them with a powerful technology, which can be rapidly adjusted to the changing business environment and requirements from the business. Right. So what we actually did is we built a custom-made data, actualization process for both individuals and legal entities, and there were like different types of reports and automation of the sales process, as well as the full-fledged business process management tool to support like the guided business processes such as customer consultation, management, maintenance of the activities for their current accounts. And to maintain that, we had to deliver different integrations with their core banking system, with their document management systems, and many other systems, so that we could create an interface for their people and branches where they could, conduct all of these processes while still having the access to the important data stored in the third-party applications. And of course, we provided them with a powerful, tool for a workflow automation to, ensure that all of the approvals and underwriting processes were also executed in the system. So we configured a current account opening workflow and, with the automated risk grade calculation. And then they manage all the request forms and cases in the application directly, from the single window. Again, so the outcomes are quite self-explanatory, right? So of course, the increased productivity, and now we have even more number than this. So now we are around 1,400 of users in the bank, and that number continues to grow. So there are huge plans for scaling, right? So understanding the flexibility of the system, now the banks want to bring all of the operations into that environment, right? Moving from other BPM platforms just to have everything in Creatio. And the last case that I wanted to talk about today, and that's also one of my favorites, it's Byblos Bank from Lebanon. So Byblos Bank is a very, it's a bank with a legacy. So they've been on the market for 70 years already, right? And they have a huge expertise in this banking domain. They operate in 12 different countries, and currently they have more than 22 billion of assets under management. Right? When we first came to Byblos, and they have shown us their main challenge and their main goal. So the main goal was to maintain their leadership position, because they are one of the, as I said, not only the biggest but most efficient banks in Lebanon. So they are the third largest bank in the country. And to maintain this position, they really needed a powerful technology, right? Because you cannot, just get stuck in one place. You need to evolve. You need to, chase your customer. You need to make sure that you are not falling behind your competition. But the current situation and the current technologies, they didn't allow the bank to do so, right? Because they were a bit obsolete and not scalable. So they needed to completely, change their digital environment. And the main areas for improvement were customer center, were like their branches automation, and we are mainly talking about retail case here, right? So we started with the call center, replacement of the call center software and providing the Creatio software for Creatio solution. Of course, we started with building a 360-degree customer profile. The next stage after the call center automation would be the automation for branches, but also the automation of different processes of, for example, scheduling the meetings with the in the branch through the e-calendar, right? So you can book your meeting online and then simply come to the branch at the appointed time to talk to your relationship manager or to the teller, right? And again, all of that required a number of integrations to be done so that Creatio could form that single environment, right, which can be used by the employees of the bank, and at the same time enhance the customer experience, right, providing this seamless experience and the process automation. So I try to be really brief, but I see we're still running out of time. So I will probably stop here, and we'll be more than happy to answer the questions that you might have at this point in time. Sarah, please tell me if you have any questions.
Yes, Mike. Okay, so we have a question, I believe, that is always expected from for the banking industry, and it's about compliance to regulation. So definitely banks look for digital transformation and want to invest in technology, but at the same time, they want to remain compliant with regulations where they operate. Could you
Mhm.
please talk a little bit about how a low-code platform like Creatio can play a role in that?
Okay, so when we are talking about compliance, there are different areas where we can touch here. So when we talk about compliance for the banks in regards of the software, right, it's very important for almost all of the banks to make sure that their customer data is protected and then stored in a safe place, right? And most of the banks, they say that, well, they're not allowed to store their customer data elsewhere, right? So we are normally facing these cases where the on-site implementation is needed, and that's the most common case that I've seen in the region where I work, and this is like EMEA and APAC. So in this case, so Creatio is fully compliant here. We not only have all the necessary like software certifications, but we also provide the option with the on-site software installation, which will ensure the full safety of the customer data for the bank, and will eliminate all the concerns and issues related to the security of the data and security of the application. Talking about compliance processes and regulations that we have on the country level, right? So create with the low code platform, and this is something that we've done for OTP as well. So the compliance processes, and most of them are related in my practice. I face them in corporate banking and business banking. So all of that can be configured with the help of the low-code BPM platform. So all the compliance checks and the process related to that can be automated with the help of Creatio and incorporated into the existing workflows. For example, the loan application for a corporate customer, right? So there will be a lot of procedures related to the compliance check, anti-money laundering, and so on and so forth. So it all can be streamlined and automated with the help of the low-code platform, which Creatio provides, and then incorporated into the existing workflows, which are also configured in Creatio.
Okay, thank you, Mike. I believe we can take one more question.
Absolutely, yeah, my pleasure.
Yeah, so we talked a lot about the importance of low code and being able to build custom applications quickly and easily. There's a question that's asking if Creatio provides a library of pre-built processes that are ready to use so that they can speed up the process.
Well, yeah, absolutely. As I said, by having the industry tailored solution, Creatio provides an out-of-the-box library of the best practices and the processes that can be used. But again, having this flexibility, you can either activate or deactivate these processes. You can also modify these processes, right, so that they could fit your specific business requirements, or you can build your own processes, store them in this library, and then activate or deactivate based on the business need, right? And this is actually the main, the best thing that I like about, being a local platform, that this, capability is available to all the users in the bank, like, or in the organization. So even people without deep technical knowledge or without strong, technical background can go ahead and design the process or the workflow. Of course, that is done. I mean, not to get people scared. That is not, of course, that is not done on the production environment. And we provide that so-called sandbox environments so that people could play around with the processes, see how they work, and then do the test runs, and of course then launch them in production with after acquiring the respective approvals according to the approval matrix within the organization. But still, the best thing here is that you can you can create your custom dashboard. You can create a workflow that you think might be relevant then, and of course discuss it with your management. And if that makes sense and brings the value to the business, then of course it can be brought live on the production environment. You can build your own. You can segment your customers in the way that you want, right, based on the smart filtering capabilities that we have in the system. And basically, you can work with these features to get the best outcome for yourself as an employee, or suggest some changes on the organization level. And this is what actually low-code platform does. And the most beautiful thing about this is all of these changes can be implemented in hours or minutes. So you do not need to spend like week on doing this. You can design the process, or build a dashboard in a matter of minutes. Or if we're talking about business process, that might take half an hour or 40 minutes for you to build and design that. So time to market is so much faster than if we would compare that to the other products available out there on the market. And that actually what brings the huge value to the business, right? So you can implement that right away. From idea to production, there is no time at all.
Definitely, and I believe this is going to be a major I think criteria of selection for businesses and banking institutions, because with the challenges now that they are facing, they want an efficient solution, not only a solution that would give them the what they need, but also that can take them there quickly and efficiently. So I believe this is one of the great powers that Creatio has.
Yeah, and sorry, I totally forgot to mention one very important thing, right? Is that low-code platform allows the bank or the organization to, become completely self-sufficient and independent of the vendor or even a system integrator, right? Because having the ability to change the system, adopt the system, and configure the system on your own makes you independent, because you can, have a small team of in-house experts who will be responsible for doing this necessary enhancements and configuration. And that's basically everything you need to run the solution, right? Even on that huge scale for the entire organization. So that will again save you a lot of time, a lot of resources, and definitely money on maintaining the operation of the solution, right? Just with the in-house team, you can build something much more powerful than the product that you will be getting at the very beginning, based on your initial requirements, right? Because we know that business evolves over time, it grows, it needs to catch up with the latest trends. So this low-code solution provides you with that flexibility, right? And provides you with the ability to do that without some special resources or specifically certified or trained people. It's not a rocket science. Everybody can do that. And that's the main advantage, I would say. One of the main advantages.
That's true. That's true. Thank you so much, Mike. And I believe with this last question, we can basically wrap up our webinar for today. Again, thank you, Mike, for being with us today.
Thanks, Sarah, and thank you to all of the attendees who attended the webinar and came up with all these interesting questions. It has been a pleasure to talk to you today, to present this, and hopefully we'll be able to continue this conversation after the webinar, and discuss how Creatio can assist your business to transform and get the edge on the market.
Yes, of course. So if you have any ideas, any more questions, please get in touch with us. We'll be here to help you together with Creatio. Again, thank you so much for spending this hour with us. We hope it was informative and full of ideas. And basically, we want to wish you a good rest of the day. So have a good day, everyone, and thanks again.